Welcome back, Starcraft fans! We have another Starcraft 2 balance update for everyone to complain about. It is October 29th of 2019. The big post-Blizzcon balance changes were released a few weeks ago, and I bet dozens of people tested on the testing tab in-game, and also they have professional players giving feedback and things like that. There have been some reverted changes. There are some new changes. We're going to try to break it down and the implications, and I'm going to try to do it relatively concisely, which is not my strong suit, just like the balance team for naming things that don't have massive innuendos. But in all the excitement before the culmination of this year's WCS Finals, okay, these are after the BlizzCon Finals. So, none of these, they are not going to make major changes to the game, no matter how many people make angry forum posts a week before BlizzCon, or less than a week before Cyril wins BlizzCon. Spoilers. So, what are the adjustments to the old changes? If you want the old changes, you can go to that, but we'll just see what the results are. Viking health increase, we're staying where it is. Mostly because of TVT, which is an interesting scenario. The Viking strength in late game with alterations to endgame units such as Tempest rather than to the Viking. So they're going to work around the Viking, apparently. The Viking not getting a buff. Viking still pretty good, they say, at the pro level. Reverted. Battlecruiser tactical jump cooldown increase. Reverted. Remove research neural parasite upgrade. Infestors. Oh, okay. So these are reverted changes. So now the tactical jump will be the same as it is right now. So no change. The neural parasite will be the same. No change. We're back to where we were. Tactical jump, altered tactical jump now stuns. And puts the battlecruiser into a 1-second vulnerability phase before it teleports. So that essentially means before the battlecruiser flies across and jumps out, after killing all of your drones, then it will be stunned for a second, giving you a better chance to kill it. We'd like to prune, and I like that word, and alter our changes such that we improve the feeling of fairness when fighting against battlecruisers, and at the same time preserve the core of current battlecruiser play, which is killing all your drones and then jumping out. So that's interesting. I just want to get through these before I do too much of a breakdown. Reverted. They're not reverting all of them. There are changes. All I want to say before we get further into this is make StarCraft Brood War again. Am I right, my 35-year-old web developer demographic? Let's do it. Anyways, remove Sundering Impact, so the Supercharge upgrade, gone! Adept Health Increase, gone! Adept Shields, gone! So essentially they're going to remain the same. Adept Super Shields, gone! So Zealots and Adepts are the same. There are no changes on that front. All the changes from last patch notes, gone. So, or, if you would.
Denied.
For Adepts, we hear feedback that this upgrade isn't impactful enough. I'd agree, because it's the reason that they're not used is they don't do damage. So what's the summary here? Before we get into the new changes, I do agree. I did not like the mass upgrade unlock situation we had going on there. With the Twilight Council having 5 upgrades on it, including one that required another Twilight Council upgrade. And honestly, right now, I think after going through the BlizzCon groups as well, I don't think Protoss and Terran really require that kind of nerf, especially to their core units, but a change could be interesting. And with that, let's continue forward. Creep. Active creep tumors may no longer be cancelled. Last year, we made some changes to creep spread in order to promote gameplay surrounding creep denial. It spread less, but it spread faster, was the change. So creep both grew and receded faster, which means when you scan and kill a bunch of creep tumors, or you use an observer and clear out a bunch, they recede much faster. But also respread. There's more play around it. We'd like to try to take it a step further. Aimed at the dance we typically see between Hellions and Queens, where the Queens are like, "You damn kids in your fast cars, get over here!" And the Hellions are like, "No." And then they go, that's exactly what happens. If you ever played the game, you'd know that's what happens. Anyways, We believe the change will increase both the interaction between players. How? I don't know about that. Now first, I agree with the change. I think it makes things a little more interesting overall. Because the issue now is like you dive on a creep tumor and they could maybe just cancel it and you can't. I get the idea there, fine, but it doesn't create more interaction because there's no canceling of the creep tumors. I guess it would make Terran players a little bit more committed, or even Protoss players going for like snipes with adepts or oracles. But yeah, I think the fact that once like 4 or 5 Brenda queens are out early on, and you can't deny creep spread, is a big part of why it feels so frustrating to play against Zerg. Is because early on, how you gonna commit to attacking them without all-inning, and then later on, it feels like now if you make one mistake, they're just gonna run you over. So, sticking with the fantasy of Zerg, I've seen the Heart of the Swarm trailer, but probably not great for balance. Overlord Speed, back to 100. No longer on sale. You should have bought it while it was on sale. It was a full mailing off, and you guys still didn't get your Overlord Speed. So guess what? Back to full price. Okay? Too bad. Reduce the cost, removing feedback, various immortal all-ins were difficult to scout. The changes to the Warp Prism, yeah, there was like a double-sided nerf to Protoss in the previous like mid-year patch, where Overlord Speed was less costly, and the Warp Prism pickup range was nerfed. So, that's fair. Lead to a more thoughtful decision? Yeah, it costs more. More thoughtful. And now, make StarCraft Brood War again. Okay, so pretty much everything so far has been reverting changes, or eliminating options, between canceling creep tumors, Overlord Speed, all the other super upgrades. The Infestor. Remove the Infested Terran ability. New ability, Microbial Shroud. Create a shroud that obscures ground units, reducing the damage they take from air by 50%. Lasts 11 seconds. Energy cost 100. Cast range 9. Radius 3. Requires an upgrade from the Infestation Pit on Hive Tech. So that's a long, that's a late game upgrade. 79 seconds after Hive. That is a long upgrade. That is end game. So, what you're trying to say is it's some sort of swarm or infested, I don't know, just a group of microbes that enshrouds or casts a shadow or maybe even darkness over an area. Maybe some sort of shadow swarm or something. I don't. Maybe we could find a name for it somewhere. But so this is interesting. I really think I like the idea. So here's the issue. Let's actually read Blizzard first. Let's read what they have to say, and then let me speak on that, because I don't want to talk about it without the explanation. We're not completely shelving the previous proposed changes, which is just buffing the infested Terran and making it cost more energy. We'd like to try an alternate proposal. This new ability is designed to replace the anti-air role that infested Terran ability occupied. Key difference, however, is that Microbial Shroud acts as more of a force multiplier than a standalone spell with lethal potential. This means that mass infestors will be significantly less powerful than before, and that other Zerg ground units would have to be mixed in for maximum effectiveness. It's been gated on Hive, unlocked on Lair Tech, restricts mid-game airplay too much. The first iteration will not protect buildings nor colossi, nor will it protect against oracle attacks, which are spell attacks. It also cannot be cast when the infestor is broke. Okay. So, I like it. I think the problem, it feels like, from both sides of late-game Zerg, is the ability, you got Brood Lords, you got swarm hosts, you got infested Terrans, you got like 78,000 units that aren't even the units that you're trying to kill out on the field with spore crawlers and all that. It's not so much that you don't have you can't build the army as Terran and as Protoss, and Protoss probably especially. It's just that it feels so incredibly asymmetrical, I guess. Like the amount of effort that has to go into actually hitting the right units from the right angle without getting distracted or blocked by broodlings or infested all those things. It makes it feel like they just spit out a dozen infested Terrans and good luck. So, I like the idea of like an air guardian shield or a dark swarm. Yes, dark swarm is what we're looking at, an anti-air dark swarm essentially. But this is kind of like an air guardian shield. I feel like the implementation is a little clunky. 11 seconds is a long time, by the way. I think that's the same as Guardian Shield. So, how will it play out? Is it too expensive? Is it too effective? I do like the trend away from the mass free units. It really, I feel like they were all added for StarCraft 2, partially because StarCraft 2 was like, now we have the technology to have all of these units. You can really feel like a Zerg by having thousands of units on the field. When it comes to balance, and also, you watch a late game, any Zerg matchup, like when you watch Cyril dominate people, how much can you actually tell is going on? You see some Storm, you see all the Protoss abilities, and then Cyril's down there with like 48 infested Terrans, half a dozen fungals, some transfuses. But one, it's not very visually exciting, because then, like, one army just kind of dies. I do like the trend towards abilities that don't spawn more units. That's the summary. Let's give it a shot. This is better than just trying to tweak the infested Terran, I think. I like how... Now, this is not the only thing that makes StarCraft a little bit closer to Brood War. Again. But, hold. Nidus Network Worm, 50-50 to 75-75. It's getting the Interceptor treatment, where the Interceptor originally cost 25 minerals in Legacy of the Void, and then it cost 5, or maybe it was 5, then 25, and then it was 10, and then now it's 15. Like, we're just gonna... A little bit more expensive. This makes them less spammable, and they're not removing the changes. Like, there's already nerfs where the Nidus Worm will be reverted to... It sucks in and spits out at half the speed without the secreted coating upgrade, which was in the last set of patches. So the buff that they added to the Nidus at the beginning of this year is going to be mostly reverted, and also including the cost, as well as gated behind certain unlocks. So... Overall, the ability of Zerg to put a bunch of random units in places where other races have to be very, struggling constantly against it. I'm sorry, Neeb. Well, that's what we're targeting here. And then, the Zealot. The Charge upgrade no longer provides Zealots with +8 damage on impact. Instead, it increases Zealot movement speed from 3.15 to 4.72. Up from 4.13. Zealot legs. Tasteless was right the whole time. Every time he said Zealot legs, all hundreds of thousands maybe at this point, instead of charge. Finally, Tasteless is right. Because we're going to make StarCraft Brood War again. 4.72 is very fast. It might be as fast as a Zergling off creep. I don't think it's quite that fast, like a Speedling. No, it's not quite that fast. I think it's like 5 something, but it's close. A concern we've had is its raw frontal power. Everybody knows Zealots are known for their raw frontal power, especially when compared to its ease of use and the relative difficulty of defending against them. That's fair. Thus, we'd like to try this change that aims to exchange its direct power in favor of increased mobility. This change would also restore the age-old relationship between weapon-upgraded zealots and carapace-upgraded zerglings. Because an exchange of damage for speed moves its power into a drastically different area, we categorize the change as very experimental. What? I like... Meg? I didn't even play Brood War, guys. I just think the relationships between units... Now, aside, you can't just change StarCraft 2 to Brood War. Because in Brood War, you can only select 12 little Zerglings at a time. Workers didn't mind on their own. The mechanical requirements... I assume most Koreans were mutated to have 3 to 4 hands. Because that's the only way they could actually play that game at that speed. Everyone knows. But, things like favoring speed upgrades, mobility upgrades, as opposed to, that's why I like the infestor change. Because instead of doing more damage with infested Terrans, and doing more damage in one way or another, it does less damage. There's less damage in the fight. That means the fight takes longer, which means the more skilled or tactical player has more time to outmaneuver their opponent. I think reducing damage across the board, not across the board necessarily, but in general, is going to have a better effect than increasing it. Like, increasing the front-loaded burst power. Do we not have enough burst? We got banelings. We got disruptors. We have liberators and tanks. Okay, you might be like, well, those aren't as burst. That's still a whole lot of damage coming out super quick. We got Widow Mines. There's so many units that are like, I'm just going to punch you in the face before you can react. If we could tone that down a little bit and have more of a slap fight, I think that could make for more interesting fights. I mean, this is what we're kind of looking at right now. And if Zealots have a mobility buff, then that gives them a better chance to be used in the later game against Mass Bio as well. But so this is an interesting one. Resonating Glaives reworked. Instead of increasing attack speed of the Adept by 45%, it increases the attack speed by 60% for 6 seconds after completing a psionic transfer when they throw their shade. So, here's a few things. At first, I'm like, wow, Neeb loves you, Blizzard. 92% of its previously, when used optimally in frontal flight in the long term. Okay, there's a lot of typing here. So the summary is, let's what does this mean? It might seem like this is a straight buff. It's not. One, I agree with the criticism. It is kind of complicated. But this means in order to get the buff, you must complete the transfer. Which means if you commit the units, like what's the most annoying thing in the world is when they send 10 adepts into your base, you chase them down, then they cancel and kill your drones at your third or something like that, right? So this way, if they decide to cancel the psionic transfer, not cast, but completed, that means they do not get the damage buff and are much easier to kill and are much less deadly. So, it is a little... It's better than adding 5 upgrades to the Twilight Council. I agree it's a little clunky. But it's another thing designed to make it so the Adept can't effectively be in 2 places at once, and you have to split your army in 2 places at once just to try to defend them. It's something I don't like. Here's the thing. The thought process behind the other Adept upgrades was for more late game usage. I don't think this does anything to help the Adept be a more late game unit. Like, I don't see any reason people would make the Adept more often past like 100 supply over any other unit. Like sure, maybe if like you were limited, then this would have options for higher APM skill players, but you can tell by the sheer amount of words they put here that there's like a lot about it that they're thinking about, and you can read it all in the description below or by just having random people in Twitch chat make things up, which is usually how people get their information. But we will see. So what I'm trying to say, well, what Blizzard's trying to say is, Yo Mama's so big, she's now a heroic unit. The next change, the Mothership has added a heroic tag. And will it be able to gain XP? Due to the increased power of the newly improved Time Warp, we have concerns that the power swing gained from an... Wait! Are you... Okay, stick with me here. Due to the power of the ability we buffed, we're concerned that Zerg might get too much of a benefit from the Mothership. I mean... With this change that heavily leans into its gameplay fantasy, the fantasy is that I ever make a Mothership that doesn't die in the first 30 seconds. A Mothership will always be able to contribute to the fight in favor... I don't mind this. Like, that is... I don't, like, this kind of ties into the burst damage and punishment you get from, like, not having detection for a few seconds or, like, not quite having the spell casting. I don't know what this plays into. Like, I'm just gonna ignore this in general, but oh, wait, does this mean you can't abduct either? And yes, so many people are abducting and then knurling motherships. Did you know that's one of my first highlight videos? Is when they first added the Viper in Heart of the Swarm. I'm not going to bring that video up because it's from like 2013. But one of my first highlight videos that got over 1,000 views is when in the Heart of the Swarm beta, when Vipers first happened, I abducted, knurled, and then used the Vortex, if you remember that on the Mothership, and then put a bunch of Banelings in the Vortex. And then they exploded, and it was cool. But yeah, good luck with that. So, yeah, what I'm saying is bring Vortex back, and let them be the Archon Toilet. Well, the Baneling Toilet. We had such great names for things. Right now, we're working around the Death Ball. We're not breaking up the Death Balls, we're working around them. And I think this is fine. Like, the struggle right now is that Zerg... I think nobody's going to complain too much. And honestly, I wish we were looking a little bit more at units that were not part of a Death Ball as options to break up the Death Ball mechanics on all sides, but... It's better, sure, and like, it fulfills my fantasies. I don't know about you, but if you have Mothership-related fantasies, I hope this fulfills yours out at home. So, bug fixes, proper upgrade values to prevent weapons firing slower. These units are not intended to fire slower when switching targets. Okay. Mid-range sentry weapon panels, etc., etc. Full changes. So here are the full changes. For those who skipped to the end, I forgot to mention this at the start, so they made it this far. Infernal Pre-Igniter is cheaper. Thor fires twice as fast, but does a little bit. Fires almost twice as fast and does a little bit less than half that. A little bit more than half damage. So it fires faster. It still maintains the fantasy of the Thor, if you remember. Medevac. Rapid reignition system. Oh yeah, it increases medevac speed, and it's on the fusion core. Remember, we have all these things. Advanced ballistics to the fusion core. This is actually a pretty huge buff for Terran, by the way. For Terran players who remember that Liberators exist, that's what is the biggest issue, Diamond Terran players out there? It's not remembering something exists. It's remembering to actually get it. Like, how many times have you gotten 1-1 upgrades, and maybe you got an armory, but completely forgot that 2-2 existed? What if you could just upgrade 2-2 on that armory? It's just like that. Now you don't even need, like Fusion Core, all you need. You don't even need to have a tech lab on your starport. You can just keep reactoring out Liberators. So how exciting is that? I think that's one of the biggest changes. Interference matrix energy cost is 75. Okay, so it's more of a lockdown. Movement speed, so this way you can fly your Ravens into Vikings better. Stuns. Tactical jump may not be cancelled. Okay. No longer cancel itself if a target enters a transport. It will miss. Yes, good luck dodging those Yamato cannons. Mule duration decreased. This is convenient. This is... Okay. So the reason for this is that, depending on the mineral patch the mule is mining from, it would sometimes mine with a few seconds left, and before it could return the minerals it already mined from the patch to the command center, it would die and take the minerals with it to whatever afterlife mules have. But moving on, Zerg, creep tumors may no longer be cancelled. Overlord Speed is no longer on sale. Infested Terran's gone. Totally not Dark Swarm in at Hive Tech, and takes a while and cannot target heroic units. So Ultras are not heroic units, which is offensive, but they are frenzied units, which is like heroic units for Zerg. They also cannot be knurled or abducted. The Lurker, remember this part? The Lurker Den build time is significantly decreased, but so the Lurker range is down 1, which means it has less range than Colossi and significantly less so than tanks, but adding an upgrade in order to give it even more range on Hive Tech. Broodling leash range. So there was you guys probably, even if you didn't realize it, you've seen this before. You've seen Broodlords, almost like you've seen Broodlords. So the Broodling leash range is when the Broodlords, they're like, and then they see something, and even if the Broodlord like decided to just back off, the Broodlings would still be like, and even if the Broodlord's running away, if the unit was close enough, and then they go from like half a screen away. So this is a significant nerf. Essentially, if the Broodlord is not coddling its broodlings on the way out, then, and that's a pretty big nerf, because a lot of the time when Broodlords just didn't quite die to Vikings or Stalkers or Tempests or whatever, was because the Broodlords are halfway across the map by the time the broodlings are messing up your ground army. So, Nidus Worm cost increased from 50 to 75. No longer on sale either. Summon Nidus Worm ability cooldown is now increased to the time it takes to summon, which means if your Nidus gets killed, you have to wait before you can build a new one. The unload delay sucks in and spits out slower, but now there's an upgrade. Okay, this is Blizzard fucking with me. And Loco. Okay, Loco will hear of this. Propulsive peristalsis. What is this? What is that? No, who's going to say that? Of course, the PP upgrade. No more secreted coding. Now we have the PP upgrade. So that way, for those who don't know, originally, the name of the upgrade that brought the Nidus, like doubled the speed at which the Nidus would load and unload, was called secreted coding. Also known as Nidus Lube. And required Hive Tech and a little bit of time on the Evo Chamber. But now they've decided we're not calling it secreted coding, we're calling it propulsive peristalsis, or, colloquially, the PP upgrade. Balls in your court, Blizzard. Good luck. I will upgrade my PP whenever I need to. Now, Protoss. Oracle, Sentry, and Void Ray. An issue where beam attacks should deal more damage than intended. This is not a serious nerf except to very specific scenarios. I'm not going to get into this again. I get into it in the original video. It's a little bit of a... It's a not insignificant change to the Oracle, though. So, the Zealot, the charge upgrade is now Zealot legs. So it appears... Wait. They charge and are faster, so they have legs, and then they do... So essentially, they're the Zealots from the Legacy of the Void trailer. They run fast, and then they jump and charge at you. Yeah, those Zealots, what they don't have in mouths, they have in glutes. Also known as the Zealot glutes upgrade, or the Gluteus Maximus upgrade. You see, Blizzard? We can both play that game. Resonating Glaives reworked with the post-shade. The post-shade freak out. They do more damage because they're confused as to where they are and they're panicking. The Observer movement speed is decreased, but Gravitic Boosters increases movement speed. Oh wait, it's just overall a nerf to Observers. I'm not sure why that's still there. Like, I feel like one thing you could do is just leave the Observer as it is. I feel like the Observer is not a... Of all the things, like, I don't... If there was one thing you could do without, like, upping the damage or health of a unit that would have a big impact while still being overall a little change to the meta, it would be leaving Observers as a relatively quick unit. Like, we'll see. Flux Veins are back. It's been like 7 years, but they're back, baby! And Void Rays go ludicrous speed after upgrading from the Fleet Beacon. It's very fast. Prismatic Alignment will still slow your Void Rays and still only do damage to armored. Are you attacking SCVs? Are you attacking Marines? Are you attacking Hydras? Are you attacking Queens? None of those are armored units. And your Void Rays are... It's a stupid tax. It's an ignorance tax. Because your Void Rays go slower, and they don't do any actual extra damage. Now, here's the thing. If you don't know that, my Diamond Protoss friend, what are the chances that the Terran does? So that's kind of a fair point. But... the Tempest, anti-air range decreased, and then favoring health over shields, which... The effective health is increased by 25 here, and armor upgrades apply better. Because armor upgrades only apply to the health pool, whereas shield upgrades apply to only shields. So, and then Time Warp now affects air units. Wait, I forgot about this. Yeah, Time Warp didn't affect air units before, which was news to me. So they get their super bubulas. Time Warp delay is significantly reduced, but also Zerg players can no longer use Time Warp, which is very sad. How many clips? Like, a solid 14% of clips in the history of StarCraft, I think, have been people neural parasiting motherships. Like, of popular ones. And they're taking it all away. But now we can get our PP and glutes upgrades, and that way everything will be alright. So, it's also immune to abduct. Wait. Oh, wait, it didn't make it immune to abduct, did it? Wait. Because they said, like, abducting and neural parasiting is too strong, but... It's just neural parasiting, so you can still abduct it in the corruptors. Okay. So wait, the heroic tag makes it different than the frenzy tag, which should also be a weird name. Because the Ultralisk cannot be abducted nor neural parasited, because there is no brain to neural parasite. And it's also too heavy. But apparently the abduct can still pull the mothership. So that's... We'll still get our clips, that's the point. So what's the summary? I think it was important. I probably should have gone over the changes from last time first before these, but just watch all my videos and just watch all the ads. Make Starcraft Brood War again. That's the summary. Microbial Shroud, I think, is going to be tweaked a lot, but I like overall the idea of increasing mobility and reducing damage. That makes fights more interesting, both for players, in my opinion, and spectators. One of my favorite parts of Brood War, and with Warcraft 3, the Reforged coming up, like the key point of those games is that fights can take not seconds but minutes sometimes. Like, you got units coming in from both sides, you got a bunch of spell casting going off. StarCraft 2 fights are over sometimes in 5 seconds, and that was exacerbated somewhat in Legacy of the Void with the addition of things like the Disruptor, the Liberator, the Lurker. The re-edition. Make StarCraft Brood War again. So, I think going that direction, we'll have to see how it plays out. Let's be honest here. No one's going to play the testing queue until both the balance patch and, more importantly, my announcer pack come out after BlizzCon. Actually, this is live right now. If you're watching this, it's live right now in the testing queue. But, we'll have to see. I'll be getting pro players to play it. I like the direction of most of it. Some of it, like the Adept change, is a little weird. There's definitely going to need to be some tweaking around the Infestor. The Infestor, like, it's all over the place for that. The Battle Cruiser is another unit that's like, how much can you micro a flying laser bathtub? How much micro potential is there? You got the fantasy of a big-ass battle cruiser that has the maneuverability of a walrus up against, like, a praying mantis, which is how it feels with Queens versus battle cruisers. But we'll see. I think there's a place for stuff like that, but if it becomes, like, the go-to build, obviously, especially spectators are going to be like, oh, we're doing this again. Okay. I give this last patch notes. I had to think about it a little. Last patch notes, I gave like this one I'm gonna tentative semi thumbs up. All right. I think most of the changes that were reverted were both for spectators and players the most uninteresting. Because with, like, double upgrade, like, you need charge and then you need to supercharge. Oh, no. Okay. Things like changing numbers is almost always the most boring from a spectator perspective. And I spectate more and more nowadays, right? It's like, oh, as you can tell, that Adept takes 2 more hits from a Marine. I gotta... How cool is that? Or something like that. So... we will see. Give me your thoughts. Will anyone be able to stop Cyril? Did you like his games after he beat Maru 4-3 in a 3-hour-long series at BlizzCon last weekend? When you're watching this, are you going to like and subscribe despite obviously knowing that the PvP finals we saw between the 2 Protoss players was the most exciting thing, and we should just remove the other rate. Okay, we'll stop. I'll stop hedging my bets. But, okay, we'll take a look. Maybe we'll test it out a little bit. We'll have our debates, and then we'll see where it lands a little bit after BlizzCon as we go through the off-season, where everyone thinks every unit is broken for about a month or 2 until we figure out which ones truly are. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. I definitely didn't keep it under the 30 minutes I was looking for. 30 minutes, like, who watches a 30-minute YouTube video? That's what Twitch is for. Putting it on the second monitor, not actually paying attention, and then jumping in 2 minutes after somebody said something to ask the exact same question. Everyone knows that, but either way. Thank you. Good luck. Have fun. See you, Blizzcon. Believe it or not, that's not the end of the stream. we do it live.